Dude, I was a nobody in that lineup. If you want to go up and down that lineup, it was Josh Donaldson, MVP the year before, Edwin Encarnacion, Jose Bautista, Troy Tulowitzki, Russell Martin. Like, who am I? Like,
you're Captain Canada.
Oh, ha.
There's another one to right. Get up, ball, get up, and gone. How about the hat trick?
Gone. Saunders' second home run of the game.
Here's the throw. Game on the line. Pretty good chance, and he threw him out.
What a
Michael
throw.
Saunders.
Saunders gets into one high and deep. Goodbye. Home run, Michael Saunders.
Today, I'm joined by former Major League Baseball player Michael Saunders, former Major League Baseball player Rene Tosoni. So just want to welcome you guys for taking this time to have a conversation with me. And we're going to talk baseball because I find you guys have very interesting stories. Tosoni, you know Mike pretty well as well.
We go back.
Yeah, you guys go way back. So it's the perfect cast to kind of have this conversation. So again, thank you, Sando, for sitting in on this. I want to just kind of introduce how we met, right, and then maybe introduce how you know Tosoni. So if you could go through kind of like how we met. I vaguely remember it. The way I remember it is, at the time I was with the Seattle Mariners, and I was sent down to Everett, Washington, in short season A in the Northwest League, and there was this Canadian kid, young kid. I think you were 18 years old at the time. Mm-hmm. I was 22, so I was a bit older for short season A, but pretty standard college guy. And then I met you. That's how I recall it. But what do you remember?
You had a little bit more dirt on your spikes at that time. Definitely like that saltier college guy. And they say that like getting called out by a teammate goes a lot further than getting called out by your coach, right, which is so true. And that is like my main memory of you. You were the first teammate to ever call me out. I was going through like, fresh out of junior college, never sort of really failing at baseball, right, to getting my teeth punched in professional. And I think I had like 20, 25 ABs. I punched out like 18 times. And I was just this 18-year-old, like, woe is me, feeling sorry for myself. And I'll never forget it, dude. You came up to me. You kind of had enough, and can I say exactly what you said?
Absolutely.
You said, "Sando, stop being such a little bitch." and lo and behold, I clearly got him traded like a week later. No, but that was like
story.
That was like a wake up call for me. I'm like, holy shit! Here's this Canadian guy calling me a little bitch. Like,
okay.
You like I had to grow up quick, man.
Yeah. So the backstory behind that was, from my perspective, I was, in Inland Empire in the California League, and this was my fourth team that season, and it was June, July.
That's tough.
Yeah. So I'm bitter here, and Pedro Greifel, who was our manager at the time. He's the manager for the Chicago White Sox
now. Yeah, I think second year. Yeah.
He came up to me and he was like, "Hey, I thought Canadian kids were built differently. Yeah. What's up with your boy Saunders?" And I had a chip on my shoulder. I wasn't happy. I hated baseball at the time.
Oh yeah.
And here is this 18-year-old Canadian kid that was kind of like sulking, I guess.
He's a spoon-fed 18-year-old Canadian kid.
But
That's what I would call it too. Yeah, for sure.
Spoon-fed.
So how do you and Tosoni know each other?
We go back just playing days.
Yeah, like high school. Like I was with the Coquitlam Reds growing up, and he was
West Coast boys.
Yeah, he was.
What a grad year that was, hey? 04?
Yep, 04.
Like there was a lot of draft picks that year, but yeah, it was.
Who else?
Bobby Scott.
Oh yeah, Bobby Scott.
Jay's
Jordan
like 10th
Leonard.
rounder. Yeah, Lenny.
Mike Goss ended
myself, Goss made to AAA, right?
Yeah, but not out of high school. He was college.
No, but that like
for
for Canada in general, let alone BC.
Yeah,
that's pretty legit.
Yeah,
just for one draft class, and then you had guys like Francis and Lowen a couple years before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just playing days, going back, and I grew up on the island, so it was always Victoria like against the world in BC, and he was one of the big three-headed monsters there with Schaefer and Goss, right?
Schaefer, Schumacher too.
We had
two nasty lefty
you guys
pitchers.
were good. I think we beat you in the finals though.
You definitely did. I remember you hitting 2 homers against us over my head. I was playing left field. Oh no, I was playing third base. And I just remember you going Oppo at Mundy Park.
You said it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it.
Yeah, I did. And I was pissed because I didn't like Mike. I played with him on Team BC.
We didn't like each other.
No.
No.
Yeah. Well, I think he liked me, but I didn't like him. No, I'm kidding. We played together on Team BC and stuff like that. And Saunders was the guy, the dude. He was, 6'4", 6'5", through 90, whatever. Played well around the infield and the outfield. Yeah, I was getting there.
Okay,
Good-looking fellow. Yeah. Ran well. Yeah, we played on Team BC and then Team Canada.
Bunch of Team Canada.
Yeah, grade 11 and 12 on Team Canada. And then, and then kind of once we went to college, like he was at Tallahassee and I was at Chipola. And
couldn't get rid of this guy, man.
It just seemed like we were playing against each other all the time and the only two Canadians in the South, North Florida.
And that's when we actually started hanging out because Chipola was only, 45 minutes up the highway from Tallahassee?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
So you guys would come into town.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing in Chipola.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Literally.
And my roommates were like huge football fans, so we go to SFU or FSU.
Yeah, Florida State. Yeah.
And then we end up just like running into each other all the time.
Florida State was my neck of the
woods. So you guys were there for a year each, or
I was 2 years. I think you went 1 year.
I left after 1 year, but that's when we actually and we just grew up a little bit too. But that's when I think we started hanging out.
Yeah.
When you came down with Tyler Flowers.
Yep.
Yeah, a long time catcher in the big leagues. Anyways, that was a good team, Chipola. But you guys came out to hang out in Florida, in Tallahassee, because FSU's there, right? And when I say nothing's in Chipola,
there's
nothing but the college.
Right.
So they started coming hanging out, and we just hung out after games, and like typical Canadians, we battle on the field. We have a couple beers afterwards, and I think that's when our relationship started growing.
I don't know how often we played with each other after that. Like
just Team Canada stuff, running into each other. We never ran into each other pro ball until the big leagues.
Yeah. Were we in the Futures game together? No.
I was 07.
07, I was 09.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We just kept in touch.
Yeah, so it seems like it's common for all of us. Baseball Canada seems to kind of be that glue that keeps us kind of like hanging out because we see each other
coming back,
in the banquet. So that's actually why we're here this weekend.
Yeah,
it's a big weekend,
no doubt.
And I didn't know this, and I apologize because I should have known this. And Rene actually didn't know this either, but you're getting awarded with a pretty big award this weekend, which is the Baseball Canada Wall of Excellence.
Yeah.
So I can't define what that is, but I know a select few of very, very big-time names are on that list, and you're the 12th recipient to receive this award, which is happening tonight. Tell me about kind of like what that feels like, I guess, what that means to you. It's a very big award because you got guys like Larry Walker, Joey Votto.
I don't know, why the heck my name got chosen.
Oh, you're a Canadian. You're Captain Canada.
To be. I mean, like you were leading into it, but like it's pretty humbling and I'm super honored, obviously. But like playing catch with your dad in the backyard, you never dream of something like that happening. And being naive, I guess I didn't even know how you got to the big leagues and played on TV until I was like a junior in high school.
Right.
I didn't even know there was a draft. Like that's how just ignorant I was to the fact. And you never think it's ever going to get to this place, But Greg gave me the call and completely honored, and to have my name next to those guys that you were naming, we have actual Hall of Famers, right?
Right.
Larry Walker's, those guys that are up there, and no, it's pretty cool, pretty special. But never thought that this day would come when I was just playing catch in the backyard as a 6-7-year-old with my dad.
Right. Were you on the junior national team, the 18 under team? You were, right?
Yeah, we played together.
Yeah, that's where
grade 11 and 12.
Yeah,
both of us.
Yeah. So we're same age, same grad year, and we played Team BC together.
Yep.
Windsor.
Yep.
Where was the national tournament? It was Ontario somewhere.
It was Windsor.
Sure, okay, yeah. And then and so grade 11.
Right.
Grade 11 was first year. I think grade 11 was first year for you too, right?
Yeah, we went Curacao,
yeah.
Cuba trip, and
Did you ever win an MVP award?
No, but I did.
I know but that was my point. You're sitting between two junior national team MVPs.
Did you?
No, not junior.
Yeah.
on the senior team.
Double WBC.
Yeah, so you're wedged in between.
Yeah, I saw,
you're
I was
wedged
there
in
for that. I
between
witnessed
two
that.
junior former national team MVPs, and now you're winning this Wall of Excellence award. So it's all baseball Canada related.
I need to get your autograph.
Oh, that was my
You
point.
have to find it on eBay.
Yeah. So walk us through, I guess, kind of like, for me, what baffles me kind of is when you signed with Seattle, and that was your first professional game, going back to that time I met you for the first time.
Yeah, Everett. Yeah.
Everett, Washington. You were 18 years old still, and you already had a year of college baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So you were a 17-year-old college baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's pretty young. Like you're doing things that people were still in high school, right? So how was that transition going into kind of like a high school setting in Victoria, which is not even Vancouver, and not in a bad way.
Non-existent,
Yeah.
dude. I was at
It's
a
an
double A
island.
high school.
Yeah, and then going to Tallahassee, Florida, and then going in Everett, Washington. That transition of kind of like as a baseball player, as a kid, to kind of like, okay, I'm a professional baseball player.
Yeah. So like you alluded to, I graduated a year early. I was 17, and then I went to Tallahassee, and I got drafted out of high school by the Mariners, and I knew they were going to offer me something. This was still when the draft and follow were around, but my scout was saying, no, they're going to offer you something. They want you to sign. You know, we're currently negotiating what that is. And so, you know, I took a couple days, and I realized I knew I was young. I knew I had success in BC, and you know, at that level, playing against, you know, guys on the mainland and everything, but I didn't know where I was going to stack up to against, you know, the big boys in the U.S., right? So I wasn't physically, mentally, or emotionally ready in my own mind to turn pro yet.
Right.
I hadn't been away from my family. I hadn't done all that stuff, you know, and so I set the bar so high with Seattle, knowing that they weren't going to offer me what I was hoping for, which would make my decision easy to go to college. And how I got down to Tallahassee was the head coach of the Tallahassee Eagles, TCC, was the pitching coach for Team USA, the junior team.
Right.
So we had done a lot of
Like pre-tournament.
pre-tournament games against USA to get ready for the championships in Curacao.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up playing, I think, USA 7-8 times, you know, including those exhibition games leading into the tournament. And you know, I'd played well, and that's kind of how I got down to Tallahassee. Was the pitching coach there with Team USA, and I got everything I wanted to out of college. I think I was trying to get as far away from home as possible, you know, thinking that was the best route for me, when really who knows, but it really helped me grow up. It helped me develop a routine, become responsible for myself really for the first time in my life, right? And having to do my own laundry, cook my own food. But mainly I wanted to see, could I really compete?
Right.
And I had a decent season at a really good junior college conference. You know, the Panhandle Conference is well known as far as junior colleges go, right? And at that point, I knew I was ready to turn pro. But I think if I didn't take that step in my life, you know, like that question whether or not you belong in the back of your mind, I think I wouldn't have been the same player that, you know, I was, or that I ended up having that career if I would have just gone out of high school.
Right.
Because as you said earlier, I really struggled when I first went to professional baseball.
What do you think that caused that struggle though? Like it was just lack of experience.
I think lack of experience, and then being 18 years old and trying to dig yourself out of a hole in one game rather than understanding. And people still struggle with this. Like I struggled with it at the end of my career with thousands of at-bats, but understanding you're not going to be hitting 300 in one day. No, it's a process to get there, right? You got to trust the process instead of the outcome. And it's cliche as it sounds, one at bat at a time.
Right.
You know, you're hitting 250 with 100 at bats or 200 and you're really struggling. You start seeing your statistics on the big screen. You're not hitting 300 by the end of the game. I don't care what you think, right? It's a process to get there. And it's just understanding what makes you successful, why you're there in the first place, and really grinding out at bat after at bat after at bat rather than chasing something that is going to take weeks to get there. You know?
Right. So, Tosoni, what do you remember about Saunders in terms of, I guess, from your perspective of seeing him from high school to playing on multiple Team Canada events? Obviously, you made the big leagues too, so you guys ran. I don't know if you guys ran into each other at the same time, but you've obviously seen him grow as an 18-year-old kid or a 16-year-old kid to become, the Major League Baseball player he was. But what was, I guess, the memory or thing that you remember about Sando?
Like when we were doing like showcase, like I remember doing like the draft things out in White Rock and stuff like that, and then
Langley and stuff.
and we're doing all that, and like everybody's eyes were on Saunders. Like I said, he's big, good-looking guy and hit the ball far, but he was immature, right? He was, and we all were, but like that's why I think he rubbed guys the wrong way, because he knew a lot of the eyes were on him, and some stuff that he would say, I wouldn't say it was bad. No, I don't remember what it was, but I think he kind of was very. I'm not trying
immature,
to be
immature,
a little cocky, which is great, because that's what made him a good player, right? Like he wanted to be, he knew he was the best, and he was being the best on the field, right? So, and then just like seeing him mature growing up and playing. I remember I didn't get to see you in the minor leagues, but I followed you all the time. Like I would just kind of Google your name, see how you're doing. I just like, you had like, 3 for 4 with a homer, and then like you're hitting over 300 in AAA, and then like now he's in the big leagues, and just kind of watching his progress. And we I don't know if we talked much early in our career, like once we went pro, but we ended up being in the big leagues together. Seattle came into Minnesota,
right?
And we went out for dinner.
You remember what happened?
I walked you guys off.
Yeah, you did.
Nice.
I also
I tried to set him out. He wouldn't say that himself. But he hit a walk-off Jimmy against us at
No,
home.
it wasn't a Jimmy. It was a double.
Double?
Yeah, after
off the wall.
Yeah.
Okay. Crowd was going crazy, and I was proud, man. Like we had just lost the game, but I was like, "That's my boy."
I was 3 for 4 that game, I think, and I had 2 doubles, and I hit one in the gap.
Yeah.
And he missed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that was probably that extra beer I bought him the night before or something like that. But
he paid, so I had to, hook him
a little
up
slower.
But yeah, like just seeing his career and like what he continued to do, and then what he did in Toronto and stuff like that, and we're close friends now, and you've always been a good player, and just watching your bat just stay strong the whole time. And you pitched a lot when we were in high school too, and I always thought that may have been your route. Like even going to college, I think you pitched a little bit.
A little bit of college, a little bit.
And then you just went straight. Yeah. Big athlete, right?
So,
I wish I was that big.
Going back to MLB, you got drafted by Seattle, which is kind of like your hometown, because I don't know if it's like right across the border.
Yep.
I'm sure you were a Mariners fan growing up.
Big time, big Griffey guy.
A big Griffey guy,
yeah.
As well as a Toronto Blue Jay fan.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool actually. Okay, the Blue Jays are definitely the hometown team, no matter where you're at in Canada, right? Yeah. I know some people get annoyed by that.
No.
Toronto's Canada's team. No, I truly believe it is, because we had them on every single night. And what the average fan don't realize is you're playing 162 in like 180 days or something, right? So you're on every single night. The rare occasion that the Jays weren't on was pretty special. We got the Mariners games that night. But we never got Mariners games on TV growing up in Victoria. But the games that I would go see were Mariners games. My dad would take me on the Clipper, from downtown Seattle to downtown Victoria to downtown Seattle, and we'd walk to, Safeco or the Kingdom, whatever it was back in the day. But Griffey was my guy, so that was like a real treat when the Jays had a rare night off that the Mariners were on. So I got to, like you said, I got to play for my hometown team. I kind of got drafted by my hometown team, despite the fact that they were in the U.S.
So you made your major league debut with the Mariners.
With the Mariners,
and you played how many seasons with the Mariners?
So I made my debut in 2009, and I got traded in the offseason of 2015.
And then you signed with the Blue Jays.
My real hometown team.
Your real hometown team.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's like, as a kid, that's like a dream come true, because now you signed with your first hometown team, and then now it's like the country's team. And then you have a fan base, and I believe you've probably had your best season in Toronto, would you say?
16, yeah.
2016, you were an all-star that
Blew
year.
out my knee in 15 during spring training. I had about a week of games during the season, but my knee just never responded, and that was my season. And then 16 was the best year of my career.
What do you like? You blew out your knee like ACL or?
So my meniscus.
Okay.
I tore my meniscus. I removed it, knowing that. Now I was like the middle part of my career at this point. I wouldn't say the latter, at least at the time. It turned out to be sort of the latter part of my career, but at the time I was viewing it like, hey, this is the middle part of my career. And the doctors basically said, listen, man, like you have a bucket handle tear, and if anyone doesn't know what that is, your knee gets locked up.
Right.
You're going in there, surgery, they can repair it, but you can do it again.
Right.
It's a 6-month sort of rehab process, and it'll never be the same, and it could happen again. Or we could remove it, and which I chose to do, and they said it's more of a 4-week recovery process. Right. You'll be fine, but you're going to experience probably a knee replacement later in your career. And
so that was 2015.
That was 15,
and then what was the mindset shift there? Because now it's like you sustained a big it was surgery.
Yeah, I ended up removing it.
You removed
because
it.
I was going for the quicker process. I had just gotten traded. I wanted to be on the field, man.
Right.
Like I'd spent the last couple of years of my career with Seattle, injury bug prone, tearing obliques, hamstrings, this kind of thing. And
so what was the mindset shift that, like, I mean, you go from like being traded, and then having a pretty big injury, and then going to a new team, and then putting up great numbers, being an all-star, making an impact on that fun 2016 team.
Yeah. So I chose the quick route, right? I decided after speaking to a lot of people and doing a lot of research, I wanted to remove my meniscus. So I ended up removing about 75% of it.
Okay.
And opting for the quicker rehab process, because my mindset at the time was, I just got traded over to this team. They're kind of a win now. Like if you look at their roster,
that was a win.
I know it's the beast from the East. The AL East is a big division, but they're in win now. They traded for me to play left field every day. I was so excited to be here and obviously be a part of the Blue Jays being Canadian that I opted to get the quick route, thinking that I could play, maybe miss a couple weeks at the beginning of the season with rehab. Right. Needing probably an early knee replacement when I'm older, but I was thinking about the here and the now. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care about my knee replacement when I'm 50 years old. Like that'll come. But and so I rehabbed. I got back. I came up, and all of a sudden, I'll never forget it. We were in the Trop, which is that old school like hard turf, right? It's basically this carpet that we're standing on right now. And I play 3 games, and we're heading to Boston. My knee blows up, right? No pain, but like swelling,
the inflammation,
ton of fluid, meaning it's protecting something, right? And I couldn't even wear my knee brace anymore. I was a little bit worried. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I didn't want to tell anybody. I just got back from rehab, right? And so playing Boston, finish those games, and then I'll never forget it. We go to Cleveland. All of a sudden, it starts hurting. And I'm limping around in Cleveland. They have me out in the outfield because Eddie's DHing, so there's no spot there. And after every game I played there, I would lay down on the training table in like cold sweats, just thanking God I got through the game, right? I refused to go on the DL. So finally we get back to Toronto. They drained my knee. They drained like 60 cc's out of my knee, and that's a couple big vials. Couldn't figure out what was going on. They ended up putting me on the DL. So here I am now it's the IL, but here I am on the DL again. And I came from Seattle with that quote unquote sort of injury bug,
right?
So I was like devastated. I wanted to prove to the world that I could play and play every day. The hardest part about that was nobody was telling me what was wrong with my knee. I was getting all these images, all these MRIs. Well, we think this, we think that, we think this, we think that, right? And so finally, Alex is like, you know what, dude, just go home, take a mental break, go through your rehab. And I went back to Colorado where I currently reside, and I went up to Vail, where Stedman Hawkins is, and now this guy's a world-renowned knee specialist.
Right.
Deals with skiers, Olympians, all sorts of stuff, common knee injuries. And he takes one look at my knee, he takes one look at the image, and he goes, "Oh yeah, dude, you got a bone bruise in your tibial plateau." I go, "Well, tell me what that means in layman's terms." He's like, "Well, you have a fracture in your tibia, which is right below the knee, Right. I'm like, "Will I ever recover?" He goes, "Yeah, I see this all the time." I'm like, "Oh, thank God," right? He's like, "Your season's done, but you will recover." Right. Everyone recovers at different points. And so now going into 16, I've got a chip on my shoulder. I've got something to prove. Nice. I rehab my ass off. Like I'm in peak physical condition, And I had that mentality of like, listen, man, I'm going to show the world why Toronto traded for me.
Right.
I'm going to show the fans of Canada why Toronto traded for me. And that was just a different mindset that I've ever had in my career.
Right.
You know, playing with that chip on my shoulder. And I felt like for the first time I was wanted, you know, and that's an important feeling for people to have that like, we went and got you for a reason. Go show the world what we see in you. You know, the Mariners might not see it, but we do. Right. So I had that sort of mindset. And not only that, but dude, I was a nobody in that lineup. I think I started in the 8 hole for the opener. Ended up working my way to the top of the lineup. But I mean, if you want to go up and down that lineup, it was Devin Travis hitting 300, leading off before he got injured. Josh Donaldson, MVP the year before. Edwin Encarnacion, Jose Batista, Troy Tulowitzki, Russell Martin.
Wow. Yeah. That was
like, who am I? Like,
that was the fun times of Toronto.
You know what I'm saying? But
time,
coming from Seattle, like, it was expected to produce because we had nobody. We had Kyle Seager, who was a mainstay, like, great big leaguer.
Right.
And that was it. Right. So it's like there was a lot of holes in the lineup. So when you struggled, it was accentuated.
Right.
When you struggled, it was like a game and no big deal because someone picked up the slack. Right. And so there was so many superstars on that team that, you know, hitting's contagious. You hear that, right?
Absolutely.
It's so true, man. It's so true. It's so much easier to hit when there's always somebody on base, always someone in scoring position. Pitchers, all like when in that 16 team, pitchers were throwing stress pitches from the first pitch of the game.
Right.
You know, that's the kind of pressure, and it started before the game even started. The fear that lineup put in. So I was just, I was a fly on the wall, which made my job a lot easier. You know?
But you contributed, you know, very well to that team. I mean, you're a big piece of that team, and that 2016 team, I was a fan because I was watching
hard
the
not
games,
to be,
right?
Man. This place, I mean, this place went from 15,000 at the beginning.
Right.
So I'm talking like halfway through the year, it was sold out. You couldn't find a ticket, dude. And this place was rocking. When that dome opened and it was sunny and hot, like this place, it was shaking.
Right.
It was shaking. I'll never forget when we had a home playoff game, the roof was closed. Literally, the place was shaking and you could feel it. Right. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, man.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. So let's go back to gears of Team Canada again, because I like bringing that because there's such a different type of baseball from professional baseball to international baseball. We had conversations about this all weekend because we're talking about the WBC fight with Mexico, and obviously Tosoni was a big part of that, you know, starting that. But what would you say, like, is the difference between that, like, playing for your country? And I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just, it's different, right? So it's like you guys are both, you know, MLB, you know, players, ex-players. So it's like you got to experience both, and maybe even highlighted more because we are Canadian. So there's not it's just a lot more challenging. Let's just say if it was in the U.S., for instance, to make a roster, a one-team roster of Team USA, we had more opportunity to experience international baseball, which is like a tight-knit family, like we always say. But what do you guys think is the biggest difference between kind of like someone who experiences international baseball as opposed to just like that professional baseball?
Did you ever play in the playoffs? In the big leagues? No, honest question.
No, we had 99 losses that year that I was there. I only played half a year, so I didn't have a career like you did, my friend. But no, I watched a lot of playoff games, yeah, for sure.
So I would relate like international baseball to playoff baseball in the big leagues. Regular season, it's like, hey, we got tomorrow. You get on a 3 or 4 day losing streak. Screw it. We got tomorrow, guys. No big deal. Like, tough series. You know, You're not going to win every series, even though that's the goal.
Right.
But we always got tomorrow.
Right.
And guys are sitting in their lockers, like, feeling themselves. If they had a 3 for 4 day, we got a loss. No big deal, right? However, playoffs is a lot similar to international, in my opinion, where every game counts.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you get 4 hits.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. I was saying this the other day, right? It's like it's international baseball is here and now, and what can I do to win the game or help win the game? If it's diving for a ball or getting a runner over. It didn't matter if I get 4 hits or not.
No doubt. It's not about the name on the back. Like, you're not making any money, right? Like in the major leagues and the minor leagues, like, you're playing to feed your family. Right. International baseball is about playing for your country and your boys. Like, those are some of my most fond memories of baseball, are suiting up with the Canadian jersey on and playing with guys like Rene, and going back to, when we were 14, 15 years old, being like arch nemesis, is to now it's like, dude, we got a common goal. And I think that's honestly also what brought us together as well.
Right. The Baseball Canada.
No doubt.
The goal.
And
we were in the outfield together with Team Canada on the junior team and stuff like that. Like communicating and you're pulling for one another.
I mean, you hear it all the time, but like when you wear Canada, it's like everyone's rowing the oar with stream rather than one guy rowing up and going against the current,
So what would, leading to that, what would be your favorite, and even you, Tosoni, after, like, what's your favorite, like, Baseball Canada moment? Like, or memorable? Or,
I think one that really sticks out is the game in Taiwan in 2007. I think it was the last qualifier for the Olympics in 2008.
That was wild.
It was unbelievable. It was that you had to be there to experience it.
Right.
I will not do this story justice, but I'll do my best. So, were you on that team?
No, that was my first year was 2009. I was again.
Okay, sorry.
I'm here on the struggle bus. I did get 10 years on the team, but mine started later than you.
Heck yeah, dude. You lasted longer than I did.
Well, you spent more time in the show, so I had more opportunities to play on the national team.
So we're in Taiwan, right? And we're playing Taiwan, and we're playing in front of 35,000, 40,000 people, okay? So this is my first real experience with playing in front of that kind of a magnitude of a crowd. This is a must-win game. It's win. You're going to the Olympics, lose, you're going home.
This is the qualifiers for Olympics, for Beijing.
Beijing 08, right? Okay. And this is legit. You win, you're going to the Olympics. Everyone's dream, right?
Right.
You lose, like, sorry, you're out. See ya. You're not going anywhere. So it's like we take the lead, they come back, tie it up. They take the lead, we come back, tie it up. It is like from pitch one, we're upper tank. Like, we're on the top step. Like, we're into this game. Right. We know what's at stake here. And I think we were down a run. I was actually on first base with 1 out, first and third. Tailor-made double play to get out of the inning. We'll still be down 1, and I'm coming in hard. And back where the old rules, as long as you're touching the base, like, it's fair game. Right. So the shortstop takes the long way more towards the outfield. Thank God for my length. I'm reaching out, the bag's over here. I stick my long, lanky leg out like this, and he's jumped in the air, and I clip him, and he does a front flip, loses the ball. Sorry, it was first and second. Loses the ball. Runner from second ends up scoring the tie-in run with 2 outs.
Right.
Because the ball trickles away into the outfield kind of thing. Crowd is going nuts. Like, I don't know what they're saying, but I am the most hated man. I'm the most hated man in Taiwan at this moment. We tie the game up. It's like the 6th inning something. We're all pumped, everything like that. Things keep going, right? So now we have the go-ahead run, same inning. I think we have the go-ahead run on second base. It was actually Van Osten.
Yeah.
It was Jimmy's on second base.
Right.
Someone hits a knock to right field. 2 outs. Right fielder comes up, hoses him, right? And he is hosed. Yeah. But like any good third base coach is like, hey, let's make him make the play. There's 2 outs. We're sending him. He was done by like halfway, dude, between third and home.
He's not the quickest guy either.
No, right?
JDO is not the quickest
But
guy.
this is the go-ahead run late in the
game.
He's a
unit.
We're 6th, 7th inning, something like that. And so he's going. He sees he's out by a mile. You can see he's like getting ready to truck the guy, but he's like, no, like it's not even a close play, and kind of goes and sort of like holds back. They kind of tumble together, hits him a little bit, and then the catcher, and whatever, all good. He throws his hand up with the ball like this to the crowd, and the crowd's going nuts, right? Yeah. Tie game, everything like that. So we're not thinking anything of it. Jimmy looks at him like, what the, one of these. And then it's like, okay, collects himself, starts walking off. The catcher tosses the ball into his chest.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that.
And so that's what gets everyone going. We're like, okay, like what the, this kind of thing. And something happens. There's like a little scuffle. We start coming out, feeling out the situation. They start kind of coming out, feeling out the situation. all of a sudden, I don't know where that ball went, but all of a sudden this ball gets flung into our dugout.
Oh, someone threw it.
It smokes Denny Boucher.
Again.
Of course, he's always the guy, right?
He's always the guy.
Always the guy. Smokes Denny Boucher. And like in true Denny fashion, he's first one out of the dugout.
Right.
He doesn't know who threw it. He's finding somebody. So we're like, we got to follow him, right? And we're heading out. And you know, it escalated to about 15 minutes of jarring and all this kind of stuff. But what ended up happening after that was the game got delayed for like 45 minutes to an hour because fans started throwing full beer cans from upper tank.
Wow.
Right? Like, if that hits us in the head, it's not a solo cup.
that's
It's
a
a full
bullet.
beer can. Dude, you're dead.
That's a sniper
You're dead,
bullet.
right?
Knocked out.
And so the fans are like getting ready to come on the field, and it's, once again, Team Canada versus the world, right? Something hits Steve Green, all right? Steve Green grabs a fungo, and he's going in the stands.
He climbed into the stand?
He's going into the stands, and I can't remember who grabbed. If he goes in that stands, he's dead.
Right.
I'm telling you, he is dead. We're not seeing Steve Green again. Someone grabbed him, luckily, and pulls him back, but like he was gone. They brought in the riot police.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking like riot shields and shit.
Wow.
And they got on top of the dugouts, making sure fans weren't rushing the field. Okay, and so the game's obviously delayed. It's a tie game. I'm trying to paint the picture so you guys feel like
I'm
the emotions
intense.
going on.
I'm grabbing on.
We go. So it's a big league stadium. So we go down into the tunnel, which leads to our clubhouse, right? And it's covered. You know, the fans are on top of us. It's like a big league stadium. Finally, everything gets quiet. The riot police are still there, right? We have to finish this game. This is for the Olympics.
Yeah.
We go back out. I'm thinking it might be the 8th inning now, something like that. We go up, okay? We're on the road. We go up, all right? So we're up 1 run or something like that in the 9th inning. We get 2 quick outs. You can feel the emotions. Hammy, guys, if we win, just go. Just go in under the dugout, all this kind of stuff, right? So closer, strike 3. We're like, fuck that, we're going. And so we charge the field. We start jumping up and down on the mound, and we're like middle fingering the crowd, all this kind of stuff. And I can only picture what Hammy was like, dude. But that is like, I mean, been to the Olympics. That to me is the most memorable moment. We're talking about the Canada-Mexico fight. This one might have been Canada-Mexico on steroids, but you just can't find it because it's not on.
No, there are clips there.
You had to feel it.
Yeah.
You know, it was us versus Taiwan, the country.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And it was a meaningful game too.
No
right?
doubt.
Which makes it way more magnified.
That game, we went to the Olympics.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Taiwan went home.
Yeah.
You know, it was unbelievable, man.
That's awesome.
Honestly, you did the story justice. I'm sweating here because it's like intense.
Yeah.
Right. I'm to the point where I don't even want to hear Tosoni's story.
Oh, dude.
No,
Well,
I think you can.
the story kind of continues, right? So it takes
I don't
us
even want to go after that.
It takes us about 2 hours to leave the stadium because they're trying to get everyone out. Fans aren't leaving.
Right.
Fans are like waiting for us to come out.
Yeah.
We get escorted into our bus. We have police escorts taking us back to the hotel, escorting us into the hotel. If you've been to Taiwan, it's not a lot of cars. It's more like motorcycles and scooters and stuff. People are throwing beer bottles at our bus, like middle fingering, like following us, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And we had police escorts because of that. It took us about 2 hours to leave the stadium for our
wild.
safety. So I'm just glad I'm kind of sitting here today with you guys.
And Taiwan's a safe country too. Yeah, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
Seem like it.
Yeah.
Overall,
I think
pretty
it's
safe.
a pretty safe country. So that,
But
like,
they love their baseball.
Yeah, they do.
They take their baseball very
loud.
seriously.
You probably had what, 30, 40,000 fans there, maybe?
I think they said something around 35, 40.
Yeah.
It probably sounded like 80.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
yeah,
so loud.
definitely. It was my first real experience playing in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that kind of led to my memory as well about like this is a pretty special moment.
That's wild, man. No, I appreciate you sharing that story, and you know, like I want to keep talking, but like for me, it's like this. I think that's a good place to end it because to me, the stories are so priceless when it comes to like international baseball. I'm sure professional baseball is the same way, but you know, I hear these stories all the time, and like I'm always like, how do we capture it so that we just do the story justice, right? So that's kind of like our job here to kind of guess, extrapolate the story from the perspective of guys like yourself. So I appreciate you guys coming in, telling your stories. You know, even the background pieces of kind of like, we haven't really talked in depth this much ever, I don't think. So it's always good to, you know, have these conversations. So, like, really grateful for spending this time with us.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm really excited for what you guys got going on here. I think it could be something special, and it's what the fans and the people need, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome, man.
That was great.
Fuck, dude.